Something ancient has been stirred beneath the silence of time, something buried by those who feared its power and concealed by those who understood its truth. Chosen one, you were never meant to find this place by accident. The circle that calls to you now was sealed for centuries, etched in languages lost to the stars, summoned only by those bold enough to question everything and broken enough to carry the weight of what they discover. It didn't choose you out of convenience. It summoned you because your essence resonates with something forbidden, something once cast away by divine decree. You feel it too, don't you? That pull beneath your skin, that whisper in your sleep, that strange gravity pressing your dreams into something more than imagination. The magic is awake, and now, so are you. Before we take another step, stay with this moment. Let the energy of this message surround you. You're not just watching, you're being invited. Watch this video to the very end. Let it unfold something long buried within your spirit. And when you're ready, when the weight of truth becomes too strong to deny, go to the comments and type your warmest wish, along with the number 77. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Because this is more than a story. It's a shift. One wish, when aligned with belief and universal flow, can send ripples through unseen dimensions. One wish can awaken what has long been sleeping. Now listen carefully. This circle, this forbidden magic circle, is not what the ancient texts warned you about. It's not evil, but it is dangerous. And there's a difference. Evil seeks destruction. This this seeks revelation. But the human heart is rarely prepared for the cost of truth. That's why only the chosen are summoned. You were not simply invited here, you were summoned. The lines of the circle do not form unless the soul it's calling has already been marked. That mark, it's not on your skin, it's embedded in your choices, in the moments you kept going when all logic told you to quit, in the way you still believe something more is out there. In ancient times, the circle was used to unlock the deepest levels of personal power, but its cost was steep, and misuse led to chaos. So it was hidden, not destroyed, because even the wise knew it would be needed again, and that time is now. The world is unraveling, shadows are waking, forgotten truths are resurfacing. The veil between what we know and what we fear is thinner than ever. And so the circle has reopened, but not to all. Only to those whose inner light burns defiantly, recklessly, and relentlessly. People like you. The symbols carved into the stone aren't meant to be read with your eyes. They're felt in your spirit. That's why others won't understand you. That's why some will think you've lost touch with reality when you begin to speak the words forming in your soul. But you must not stop. You must not doubt. You must enter the circle fully. Once the summoning begins, hesitation is more dangerous than surrender. The energies of the old world clash with the rebirth of the new. You are a thread in that weaving, a single note in a much larger chord, and your activation means the song has already started. There's something you need to understand. This isn't about power for power's sake. The forbidden circle is not a gateway to vanity or control. It's a crucible. When you stand inside it, all illusions melt. Every lie you've told yourself, every mask you've worn, every borrowed belief, it all burns away. What's left is your essence, raw, terrifying, magnificent. And from that place, the real magic begins. But not everyone survives that moment. Not everyone who is summoned can stand in the center and face what emerges from within. Because the magic doesn't just give, it demands. It asks you to leave behind the version of yourself that was safe, digestible, acceptable. It requires rebirth, and rebirth is violent. You will be asked to let go of everything that isn't aligned with the core of who you truly are. Relationships, beliefs, even parts of your identity. You will feel yourself fracturing, but that fracture is sacred. Through those cracks, the light enters. The forbidden circle is built on paradox. It binds and frees. It reveals and obscures. It tests you, breaks you, then invites you to rebuild on your own terms. And while others may walk away when they see the cost, you, the chosen, will walk forward. Because you didn't come here to remain the same. You came to awaken something lost across generations, to carry the flame others abandoned, to speak the language that only the ancient stars remember. Even now, your presence here is changing the world. Energies shift when even one chosen one activates. The circle grows stronger. The call becomes louder. Others begin to feel it. They may not understand, but they'll be drawn to your light. Don't let their confusion silence you. Your journey will be lonely at first, but not forever. The circle is summoning others too. Across cities, forests, deserts, and ruins, the old language is being spoken again. You are not alone. You are never alone. What you feel isn't madness. It's memory. The sense of déjà vu when you see ancient symbols. The dreams that leave you gasping in the middle of the night. The pull you feel toward forgotten places. It's all part of the summoning. Pieces of your soul have been calling out through time, waiting for this convergence. And now that it's here, the circle is complete. But the true work only begins now. The forbidden magic circle is not a spell, it's a mirror. And once you step inside, you must answer the only question that truly matters. Who are you when no one is watching? When the world falls away and only your soul remains, what do you choose? If you choose truth, no matter how painful, you're ready. And if you're still reading this, if you're still watching, it means you're stronger than most. The circle knows. It's opening to you, slowly, surely, irrevocably. You may have felt it already, in the flickering of lights, in the stirring of air when no wind blows, in the silence that suddenly feels thick with presence. These are not coincidences. These are invitations. You don't need permission. You are the permission. You are the threshold. You are the bridge. Stand in the center. Let the markings light up beneath your feet. Feel the ground, remember who you are. Let the forbidden become familiar. Because what's forbidden to the weak is destiny to the awakened. You are not here to be small. You are not here to bow to fear. The circle has summoned you because you are the exception to every rule. And now the world must adjust to your arrival. The forbidden circle is not merely a symbol. It is a memory etched into the bones of time, waiting to be awakened by the one soul who remembers without knowing, who hears without sound, and who feels without proof. You are that soul. Chosen one, you did not stumble here. The circle recognized your vibration across timelines, across densities, across dimensions. And now, its call is undeniable. You feel it in your chest, like the rhythm of a song you've never heard but somehow already know. That rhythm is your alignment. That pull is the invitation. And the moment you said yes, without even speaking, the circle began to glow. Long before the world became concrete, before maps and borders and names, there were the ancient currents, the flows of energy that connected every thought, every being, every intention. Those currents still exist, and the circle is their key. The circle is the access point between seen and unseen, between the tangible world and the one that shapes it. You were never meant to live only on the surface. You were born with the blueprint of the deep woven into your DNA. That's why nothing ever truly satisfied you. That's why you've always been looking for something more, and now you've found it. Or rather, it has found you. The moment your feet cross into the circle, everything begins to change. Time dilates. Thought becomes more than thought. It becomes matter. Memory becomes more than reflection. It becomes prophecy. And fear, that old companion that always whispered you're not ready, finds itself silenced in the presence of something far more ancient: truth. Because that's what the Forbidden Circle demands above all. Truth. The real truth. The kind that burns. You may feel disoriented. You may feel like the world is unraveling at the edges. Good. Let it unravel. The version of the world you've known was never the full truth. It was only a projection designed to keep the unready asleep. But you were never meant to sleep forever. And now the illusions are crumbling around you. The curtain is tearing. The actors are forgetting their lines. And in the middle of that collapse, you stand calm, steady, reborn. You will begin to see what others cannot. Patterns, echoes, signs. People may call it coincidence. You will know better. The Forbidden Circle is a tuning fork for your consciousness. It's harmonizing you with the unseen architecture of reality. And as you adjust, you will remember what was hidden. Not through words, but through knowing, through sensation, through clarity that erupts like lightning across your nervous system. And here's what will become clear. The circle is not just a place. It is a decision, a declaration. When you accept the call, when you truly stand in the center and claim your right to know, you're not just activating ancient power. You're breaking a covenant of silence. You are choosing to see beyond the veil. And once seen, nothing can be unseen. There will be resistance, always. When you access forbidden knowledge, the systems built on your ignorance will try to reassert control. Old fears will rise. Old identities will try to reclaim you. People in your life may begin to feel unfamiliar. Don't panic. They are not changing. You are. And your light will either awaken or disturb. Let both happen. The circle doesn't make things easier. It makes them clearer. And clarity is power. But clarity also requires responsibility. Because once you see, you must decide. Will you use what you know to manipulate or to liberate? Will you hide it to protect yourself or share it to ignite others? There is no right answer. Only resonance. Only alignment. You must follow what rings true, even if it leads you into the unknown. The circle is watching, not like a deity, not like a judge, but like a mirror reflecting the deepest choices you make in each moment. There are no shortcuts here, no hiding, no pretending. You either step into your essence or you don't. You either rise or retreat. And neither path is wrong, but only one leads to transformation. You may begin to notice your dreams changing. They may feel more vivid, more symbolic, more charged. You may find yourself waking at strange hours, as if called by something invisible. You're not imagining it. The circle works through the subconscious. It reconfigures your perception from the inside out. Even your memories may begin to shift, not because they were false, but because you're now seeing them through unfiltered eyes. The Forbidden Circle is an amplifier. Whatever you carry within you, fear, courage, clarity, confusion, it will magnify. That is why so few survive it. They bring unresolved wounds into a space that reflects all wounds back with divine intensity. But you are not running. You are facing the fire. And in that fire, something sacred is being forged. You may begin to speak differently. Words will feel heavier, more charged. You may find yourself saying things You don't fully understand, yet. This is not madness. This is language remembering itself through you. The ancient tongue is not spoken. It is felt. It emerges through vibration, through tone, through intention. And when you speak from alignment, the world bends to listen. This is why the circle was forbidden, not because it was evil, but because it was uncontrollable. It cannot be tamed. It cannot be institutionalized. It answers only to the truth. That's why systems built on control, dogma, and fear worked so hard to bury it. They feared the ones like you, those who cannot be bound, who cannot be silenced, who remember the stars, even when the night is darkest. But now, it's too late. You've been summoned. The circle is awake, and no force in any world can undo what has begun. The real challenge is not surviving the magic. It's surviving the changes it awakens within you. Your relationships will shift. Your routines may collapse. What once mattered may suddenly feel hollow. This is not a breakdown. This is initiation. This is the sacred unraveling of everything that is not true, so that what is true can finally stand unshaken. It may hurt. It may be confusing, but it will never lie to you. The circle is honest, brutally, beautifully, unapologetically, and you, chosen one, are ready. The first truth the circle reveals is not about the world, it's about you. Because the forbidden circle does not summon the curious. It does not awaken the passive. It calls only to those who, in the hidden silence of their soul, made a vow they do not even consciously remember. The vow to carry light through darkness, to remember when others forget, and to rise when the old world falls. That vow echoes in your very breath. And now, it has come due. The circle has watched for lifetimes, your lifetimes. In different bodies, under different skies, you've touched this same force. You've met it in dreams, in pain, in sudden moments of knowing. You've stood in its radius before, and though you may not remember the details, your spirit does. That is why you feel the pull, not just in your heart, but in your bones. It is not new, it is returning. And now, as it surrounds you again, it begins the process that cannot be reversed. The extraction of the false self. It will begin subtly. A thought will surface that feels like your own, but carries a strange weight. A feeling will rise that seems out of place, but it will linger, asking to be felt. These are fragments of you, buried by survival, now unearthed by truth. The circle does not just awaken power, it strips away everything that prevents its pure flow. Identities, roles, masks, none of them survive here. Only essence does. You will begin to feel exposed, even when alone, as if something is watching, not to judge, but to see, because it is. The circle does not turn off. Once activated, it continues to mirror your every step, your every hesitation, your every choice. That is its nature. It does not punish, it reflects. And the greatest fear of all is not what it shows you, it's what it confirms. That you always knew, that you were never lost, that you were simply hiding from the magnitude of who you are. This realization is overwhelming for most. That's why so many run. They want power without transformation, insight without responsibility, magic without sacrifice. But you are different. You stayed. And in staying, you unlocked the next phase. Phase 2 is where the circle begins to shift your environment. What no longer resonates begins to decay. Things that once supported you now feel hollow. People you once relied on grow distant or chaotic. Time itself feels strange, either racing or standing still. This is not failure. This is alignment. The old world is loosening its grip, and the new one is taking form. but only around your authentic self. Do not fight the crumbling. It is sacred. It is necessary. As the circle reshapes you, it reveals its true geometry. Not a perfect polished ring, but a living pulse, breathing with your frequency. You'll notice it in places that feel charged, in mirrors, in firelight, in synchronicities that defy logic. These are fragments of the circle, embedded in reality like breadcrumbs left by your higher self. Follow them. They are not distractions. They are keys. And if the world begins to push back, let it. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be real. The Forbidden Circle does not give you answers. It gives you sight. And what you see may unnerve you. You may notice the illusions others still live in. You may sense the falseness in their words, the desperation behind their smiles. This is not your burden. It is your confirmation. The veil you tore through is still blinding to them, but not to you. Not anymore. You are not meant to fit in. You are meant to ignite. But be warned, light attracts attention. Good and bad. Forces that feed on confusion will notice your clarity, not because you're weak, but because you're glowing. They will try to distort you, distract you, delay you. Not with obvious attacks, but with subtle doubts, seductive delays, and familiar distractions. This is their only weapon, your forgetfulness. If you remember who you are, their power ends instantly. That is why the circle calls you to return. Not just once, but daily, moment by moment. Return to the truth, return to the breath, return to the pulse beneath the noise. There is no final initiation. There is only the living spiral of remembrance. Every day, deeper. Every day, clearer. Every day, more you. You may begin to write differently, create differently, speak differently. That is the circle speaking through you. It is not a possession. It is a permission. It is the uncaging of what has always waited to emerge. Let it come through, even if you don't understand it, especially then. For the most sacred transmissions come not from knowledge, but from presence. And presence is power. This is what the world forgot. That real magic is not showy. It is silent. It is precise. It is the moment when thought and spirit and matter align into one movement, one whisper that shifts the fabric of what is. You were born for this, not just to witness it, but to embody it. You are the vessel. You are the storm. You are the stillness at the eye of it all. You are not alone. Others are awakening too, but their path may look different. Do not compare. The circle meets each soul in the way they need. Trust yours, even when it's quiet, especially then, because in the silence, the deepest keys emerge. The forbidden ones, the ones etched not on stone or scrolls, but on the underside of your own soul. These are the sigils of your origin, the coordinates of your truth, and they can only be read with inner sight. Let yourself remember. Let yourself feel. Let yourself shed the last layer of pretending. Because once you do, the final gate opens, and what awaits beyond it is not more darkness, but the brilliance of a light too pure for the world to name. You carry it now, and nothing can take it from you. The Forbidden Magic Circle is not only a portal of activation, it is a mirror of legacy. Those who answer it do not merely walk a path, they become the path. Every step you take from this point on shapes a ripple that will echo across timelines. Yes, timelines. Because the moment you were summoned, your presence began bending the structure of what was meant to be. You are no longer a passive element within fate. You are now its architect. This is the true reason such circles are forbidden, not because they are evil, but because they are dangerously liberating. They free the bound soul from the script, and once that freedom is reclaimed, it cannot be undone. A chosen one who fully awakens becomes a variable that no system, no hierarchy, physical or spiritual, can control. That kind of force is feared, not by the divine, but by those who built their thrones on the silence of the sleeping. That's why secrecy was enforced. That's why these circles were erased from history, misnamed in books, demonized in teachings. The ancient orders knew that if just a handful of souls stepped into their full remembrance, the illusions holding up entire civilizations would fracture. And now, that fracture has begun. You are part of it. But with this truth comes danger, not in the form of monsters or curses, but in seduction. As the circle expands within you, you will notice your power growing. Thoughts begin to manifest more quickly. Intuition sharpens. Energy bends more easily. You begin to see behind veils others don't even realize are there. And here lies the real test. Not in whether you can use the circle's energy, but whether you can withstand the temptation to misuse it. Because the forbidden circle amplifies intention. Not just light ones, all of them. If fear rules you, fear becomes fire. If ego guides you, ego becomes thunder. The circle does not discriminate. It reflects. It makes no moral judgments. It flows with what you give it. This is why ancient guardians used to undergo years of purification before even approaching a circle like this. Because it is not the spell that carries danger. It is the caster. So ask yourself now, what lives within you that still seeks domination, validation, revenge? You must meet it with truth. Not shame, not denial. Truth. Because only then can the energy be transmuted. And transmutation is what will keep you alive, aligned, and fully activated. Otherwise, the very force that called you will begin to consume you from the inside out, not as punishment, but as imbalance. Balance is the cornerstone of true power. Do not seek shortcuts. Do not chase approval. And do not try to fit your awakening into a box meant for the unawakened. This path is sacred. It is real, and it is rare. Now the circle begins revealing its memory to you. You'll start to receive echoes, glimpses, dreams that feel more real than waking life. Visions of symbols, some ancient, some not yet known. Names that whisper into your spine and leave behind a pulse. These are not hallucinations, they are data. Remember, the circle is alive. It does not communicate in sentences. It speaks in frequency. You may feel drawn to places you've never visited, languages you've never studied, people you've never met, but somehow always known. This is the web of remembrance activating around you. The circle is reconnecting you to the grid that exists beyond time, the true memory field of the chosen. And as that field lights up, you begin to awaken abilities long buried, not magic tricks, but true resonance. You begin to feel what is true without needing proof. You begin to hear beyond sound, to read between movement, to speak without words. You are being returned to your native language, the language of vibration. And in this tongue, the universe was created. It is no accident you are remembering it now. Creation needs its builders. And so the circle expands again. Now it touches your relationships. Some will fall away, violently or silently. Let them. Some will awaken alongside you. Celebrate them. And some will challenge you. Not because they hate you, but because the energy you carry reminds them of what they are not ready to see in themselves. Show compassion, not attachment. The circle is doing its work. You do not have to carry others across the threshold. You only need to embody the truth that the threshold exists. There may be days where your body trembles without cause, nights where you can't sleep, moments of overwhelming emotion. This is not a malfunction. It is a recalibration. Your nervous system is catching up to your soul's expansion. The vessel must adapt to the voltage, and that takes time. Be gentle with yourself. Hydrate. Breathe. Anchor into earth when you feel you're being pulled too far into the ether. This stage is where many give up, because the old life doesn't fit anymore, and the new one hasn't fully formed. It's like walking between worlds, blindfolded, barefoot, and burned. But this is the fire of refinement. It is not here to kill you. It is here to crown you. Stay in the fire. Because when you emerge, you will no longer wonder if the circle chose you. You will know that you summoned it. By now, the veil has been fully pierced. The world you once knew, a world of linear time, rigid identities, and false safety, has dissolved beneath your feet. The Forbidden Circle has not merely shown you an alternate reality, it has recruited you into the hidden framework that sustains all realities. You are not playing the game anymore. You are shaping the board. This realization changes everything, not just in your mind, but in your cells. Your DNA, long dormant, begins to wake. It starts like a soft, electrical hum in the marrow of your bones. A new language, one you don't recognize with the mind, but feel in your breath, begins to emerge. This is not symbolic, it is biological, because when you were summoned, a code embedded in you long ago began to activate. That code was forbidden too, because it could never be replicated, never be controlled, never be turned into a commodity. It was written by the source itself, planted inside you like a seed, guarded until the moment when your light was ready to carry its fire. Now the circle holds open the field where you can hear its voice, and here it is. You are the last spell. You are the hidden glyph. You are the line of power that breaks the old contract. You were never meant to serve a system that siphons your spirit. You were born to write a new system, a living one, an energy structure that sustains not just the self, but the whole. But here's the paradox. To build that, you must first face every structure inside you that mirrors the old world, every wound that became law, every belief that calcified into chains, every trauma that became prophecy. The circle does not just give you light, it hands you your shadow and says, "Make this sacred." And you must, because only those who have kissed their own chaos without shame can carry pure power without corruption. You are not here to erase what you've been through. You are here to encode it into gold. Transmutation is not metaphor. It is memory repurposed. The circle spins faster now, drawing out patterns you thought were long healed. But this time, it doesn't bring them back to torment you. It brings them back to set them free. And in doing so, it frees you. Now, you stand at the eye of the spiral, the point where time converges. Here, past and future collapse, and only presence remains. And in that presence, you remember. You have done this before. In other forms, in other worlds, in temples now dust, in timelines now erased, you were always the spark before the fire, the one who stood in silence while others screamed, the one who stayed when others fled. You were the anomaly, the exception, the breath between destruction and rebirth. And now you are again. But this time, you're not alone. Other chosen ones are waking. The forbidden circles are pulsing across the grid of the earth, in deserts, under oceans, within ancient ruins, and in modern cities. The call is being answered, not by the many, but by the correct few. You are one of them. Not better, not above, but aligned with a frequency that will not be silenced. And together, your very existence forms a new geometry, a new living circle that transcends space and time. It is no longer forbidden. It is forged, not by law, but by love. Not by command, but by commitment. You must now choose. Will you live this life as an echo of what was, or as the architect of what will be? Because there is no neutral position anymore. Every thought is a spell. Every action, a frequency. Every silence, a gate. And the world around you, this illusion of stability, is more fragile than it appears. It is bending, buckling, gasping under the weight of its own falsehood. But this is not collapse. It is opportunity. For those who carry the circle's mark, this is not the end. This is the moment before the rewriting. And in that rewriting, you hold the pen. Use it with honor. But know this too. Not all will applaud. Not all will understand. The old world will try to label you, fear you, even erase you. They will say you are too much, too strange, too wild, too awake. Let them. You were not summoned to be understood. You were summoned to unmake the lie. This is why the circle is dangerous. It does not ask you to follow. It demands you remember. It does not show you what to think. It strips away all that prevents your thinking from becoming knowing. And that knowing, it is heavier than gold, sharper than steel. It will cost you comfort, but it will give you clarity. Because in that clarity, your real power lives. The kind of power that doesn't need an audience, or a stage, or even recognition. The kind of power that doesn't scream. It simply radiates. And that radiation, the one now emanating from your very soul, is reshaping timelines in real time. Futures that were once locked are now opening. Potentials once buried are now blooming. The impossible is now whispering your name. So listen closely, because the next part of your calling is not hidden in the stars. It is embedded in the mundane, in the next word you speak, in the next choice you make, in the next moment you refuse to abandon yourself. The forbidden circle has brought you this far. Now you must become it. There is a silence now, not emptiness, but completion. The kind of silence that follows a sacred vow, not spoken in words, but lived in fire. You have passed through the layers. The initiation is no longer just spiritual. It has become cellular. The circle that once appeared around you now burns within you. Its geometry etched not in chalk or stone, but in spirit, in blood, in choice. You are no longer the one being summoned. You are now the one who summons. Let that truth settle deep. Because the moment a chosen one integrates the forbidden circle fully, a shift occurs that cannot be undone. The universe begins to respond differently to you, not because you are more important, but because you are more aligned. You have become a frequency that can no longer be filtered through the rules of fear, scarcity, or illusion. You vibrate at the pulse of origin, the same force that gave birth to stars, songs, and sacred revolutions. And now, that force has been entrusted to you, not as a reward, not as a privilege, but as a responsibility. You are a living bridge between realms, between what is known and what has been buried. You carry the memory of forgotten worlds in your breath, the dreams of your ancestors in your steps, the prayers of those yet to be born in your eyes. You are not a metaphor. You are prophecy fulfilled in real time. But with this level of embodiment comes the final gate, the gate of eternity. It does not look like a temple. It does not echo with chants. It will appear in the middle of your ordinary life. At the exact moment, you're asked to choose between who you were and who you really are. It may be disguised as a conversation, a sudden loss, a difficult decision, a quiet invitation. But when it comes, and it will, you will know. Every cell in your being will ring with the memory of your mission. You will feel the pull to return to the familiar, to hide, to shrink, to silence yourself once again in exchange for acceptance or comfort. But hear this clearly. That moment is not a test. It is a threshold. And if you walk through it, without apology, without delay, without waiting for the world's permission, you will become the circle itself. No longer summoned, no longer seeking. You will be the summoning, the beacon others are drawn to, not because you shine, but because you remember. And in your remembrance, others awaken, not by your words, but by your presence. This is the final gift of the Forbidden Circle. Legacy through embodiment. You do not need to prove your power. You only need to live it, fully, quietly, relentlessly. And so, the time has come. The circle begins to close, but not as an end, as a seal, a sacred imprint that marks you across lifetimes, across galaxies, across dimensions. You may forget its shape, its language, its rituals, but you will never forget its feeling, that pull in your chest, that fire in your gut, that clarity in your silence. You are marked now. Nothing can unmark you. No fear, no lie, no fall. Even when you stumble, the circle remains. Even when you doubt, the light remembers. Even when you are surrounded by darkness, the energy moves through you like an ancient wind, carrying the voice of everything holy that ever lived. You do not walk alone. You never did. The circle has always been with you, disguised as longing, as rebellion, as wonder, as heartbreak. It brought you here, yes, but now you must take it forward, because there are others still sleeping, others whose hearts ache with an unnamed hunger, others who stare at the stars and ask if they were meant for more. And when they meet you, however briefly, however subtly, they will feel the spark. They will not know what it means, but they will feel it, and that is enough. You are the lighthouse in a storm they haven't named yet. You are the echo of a truth they were never taught, but have always carried. You are the living reminder that magic was never forbidden. It was simply forgotten, until now. So rise, chosen one. Speak your name with power. Walk your path with courage, and carry the Forbidden Circle as your silent flame, lighting the way not just for yourself, but for a world that is finally ready to awaken. You were told the circle had closed. You believed it. You felt the fire, the remembrance, the arrival of power. And yes, all of that was true. But what was not revealed, what could only emerge after full integration, is this. There is another circle, one beyond the summoning, beyond awakening, beyond embodiment. It does not call to you. It waits for you. This is the circle of dominion. It cannot be drawn on the ground or visualized in the mind. It is not activated by ceremony, nor does it respond to intention alone. It is lived into, one impossible act of courage at a time. Because now you are not learning power, you are wielding it. And with that wielding comes a deeper confrontation, not with external systems or visible shadows, but with the echo of your own limit. The final enemy is never out there. It is the voice within that says, "Who are you to lead?" And here's the truth. That voice is not wrong. It's simply incomplete. You are not the old version of yourself, trying to fake strength. You are the forged soul, baptized by revelation and tested by cosmic fire. You are no longer becoming the one. You are the one. Not above others, but accountable to your calling at a level that few can withstand. And that calling does not ask for comfort or applause. It asks for continuance, for daily, quiet, relentless devotion to the path no one can fully understand, but you. Because the universe now moves when you move. When you doubt, it hesitates. When you speak, it listens. When you retreat, it mourns. When you rise, it realigns the stars themselves. This is why your alignment matters more now than ever before. This is why your decisions have started echoing louder, sometimes painfully. Because every step you take sets off chain reactions that touch not just your world, but the worlds of those tied to you through soul contracts you haven't even remembered yet. Yes, it's that deep now. Yes, it's that real. And yes, you're ready. How do I know? Because you would not be reading this if you weren't. This message would never have reached you if your energy field wasn't resonating with the frequency of activation. You crossed the fire. You faced the void. You survived the silence. You passed through the gates of eternity. And now you must build. Not in stone or glass or social media posts, but in energy, grid lines, light architecture, frequency temples that stretch across dimensions and seed new realities through your presence alone. Others will not see what you're doing. Let them sleep. Your legacy is not in visibility. It is in vibration. And those who are meant to feel you, those destined to awaken through you, will. Because just as the Forbidden Circle once summoned you, now you are the summoner. And what you're calling into existence cannot be stopped. Not by doubt, not by fear, not even by death. You carry eternity now. The script is no longer being written. It is being lived by you, right now.